Hey, happy Friday. This week we learned that Meta and Zuckerberg are somehow even more evil than we thought. The Pixel line got a surprising new addition, and there's a breakthrough in new blue OLEDs. Welcome to the Friday Checkout. This video was sponsored by Brilliant. Okay, this week we're starting something new where we're separating out all the news about newly announced gadgets into a new segment called the Release Monitor. And to be extra transparent, we'll also have a new label somewhere on screen here throughout the whole segment, so you'll always know if a company sent me a review unit, invited me to an event, gave me some special deal or something else. I don't actually expect to put anything sponsored in here because my policy is to always put sponsors at the end of the video, but that is here as well, just for extra transparency, I guess. Let me know what you think about the system, and let's start with the release monitor. First, Vivo this week announced the Vivo X Fold 3 and the X Fold 3 Pro. The regular Fold 3 is technically the thinnest foldable ever made at 4.65 millimeters when unfolded and at 219 as well as 236 grams respectively. The two phones also roughly weigh as much as the Galaxy S24 Ultra or the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Nice. Next, Samsung this week launched the Galaxy Tab S6 Lite, and if you're now thinking like, wait a second, that sounds familiar, then that's because this is Samsung's third product with the exact same name. After 2020 and then 2022, we now get a 2024 version of the Galaxy Tab S6 Lite, and this is still basically just a mid-range tablet starting now at £349 in the UK. Kind of confusing. And moving on, the hype beasts among you will be happy to hear that the Knob 1 was announced as the first low-profile mechanical keyboard by a company called Work Louder. This has a full LCD screen because why the hell not? It has a design that really wants to remind you of teenage engineering, and it also has a pretty insane price tag of over $400, so you can let people know that your knob costs more than many of their whole PCs. Cool. Their website also says that the year of the knob is upon us in gigantic font, which I just have to assume is an actual threat, right? Anyway, moving on to the brief, a judge has now sentenced Sam Bankman-Fried to 25 years in prison for stealing from users of his FTX crypto exchange, and the judge also ordered him to forfeit more than $11 billion. Seems pretty decisive. That seems like a pretty effective form of altruism if I've ever heard one. Next, Spotify has just added video learning courses, basically becoming like Skillshare, where people can learn how to make music, get creative, learn business skills, and more. This is only going live in the UK for now, and I'm all for competition, but Spotify really doesn't want to just pick a lane and actually stick to that, do they? Now, staying entirely in their lane, Apple this week announced that WWDC will start from the 10th of June. There are loads of hints about AI capabilities, and no doubt there'll be plenty for developers to dig into. And last week, Apple announced the Vision Pro as well as new MacBook Airs at their WWDC, so I guess anything could happen this year too. Moving on, Google officially released a native version of Chrome for ARM-based Windows PCs this week, joining the likes of Firefox and Microsoft Edge. With all major web browsers now running natively on Windows on ARM, that's going to be one less thing to worry about for anyone who buys a new PC with a Snapdragon chip. And also this week, Disney has now integrated Hulu into Disney Plus so that subscribers can now see 100,000 assets from Hulu right along with their catalog of Star Wars, Marvel, and more. And in surprise news, Canva acquired Serif, the makers of the Affinity graphic design apps that I and many others have switched to in order to escape Adobe's massive subscription fees. Now, Canva has made an explicit promise that they're not going to be forcing people like me into a subscription, but of course we've seen companies walk back from such pledges before, and so this is maybe a yikes. Moving on, as Amazon was feeling left behind in the AI race, they have apparently now tipped $2.75 billion into the AI startup Anthropic, which is on top of their previous $1.25 billion investment, making Amazon to Anthropic similar to what Microsoft is to OpenAI. And finally, for the brief, a team in Canada has announced that they have developed a new ultra-fast camera system that can capture up to 156 trillion frames per second. I mean, to be fair, the frames look more like blobs than actual images, but still hundreds of trillions of frames per second, my tiny mind can't comprehend. Okay, moving on to my first story of the week. Remember how Facebook used to be the most hated company in the world and Zuckerberg was like the devil or something? Well, they tried to move away from this image in the last couple of years, but this week we got a reminder for why we hated them so damn much in the first place. So you might remember a huge scandal from a few years ago when Facebook owned a free VPN app called Onavo on both iOS and Android. Facebook bought the app in 2013 and used it as a sort of Trojan horse, observing people's mobile data traffic, which helped to inform them to buy WhatsApp in 2014, for example. But now there's new data from a court case that says that Facebook actually did a lot more than that. Between 2016 and 2019, before Apple booted them off of iOS, Facebook used the data that ran through their VPN to spy on users for data analytics, advertising, and also for man-in-the-middle attacks to decrypt encrypted traffic in other apps. They snooped on Snapchat in 2016, on YouTube from 2017 to 2018, and also on Amazon in 2018 by creating, quote, fake digital certificates to impersonate trusted Snapchat, YouTube, and Amazon analytics servers to redirect and decrypt secure traffic from those apps for Facebook's strategic analysis. That is arguably the worst thing that I've heard a major tech company doing. It's basically literally malware. And of course, Facebook also knew that what they're doing was evil. Pedro Canahuati, then the head of security engineering, appears in court documents and said that, quote, I can't think of a good argument for why this is okay. No security person is ever comfortable with this, no matter what consent we get from the general public. The general public just doesn't know how this stuff works. And Mike Schupfer, the then chief technology officer, said that, quote, if we ever found out that somebody had figured out a way to break encryption on WhatsApp, we would be really upset. And yet, Facebook kept paying teenagers deep into 2019 with alternative apps that used basically the exact same tech. That is insane. So if you ever see Zuckerberg or anyone from Meta being on like a kumbaya world peace moment anywhere, no, they're lying, they're the devil, they're Darth Vader, his company is the Death Star, everything is bad, do not ever give them anything. Okay, and for my second story of the week, we learned that Google is changing up their Pixel phone line. After adding a foldable phone to the Pixel line for the first time ever last year, leaks and renders show us that Google will now also split its non-foldable flagship line into 3 models called the 9, the 9 Pro, and the 9 Pro XL. The Pro XL will be at 6.7 inches according to OnLeaks and Android Authority, which would make this about as big as the 8 Pro is today, while the 9 and the 9 Pro would be somewhat more compact, closer to 6 inches, with the Pro reportedly still maintaining flagship specs. Having 2 models on the smaller side is kind of a surprise given that everyone else seems to be going towards large phones, but I guess that's nice. And the fact that they keep adding phones to the Pixel line is also a sign that the sales actually seem to be improving for the company. Market research firms show us that they're doing especially well in the US and in Japan as well, both of which have traditionally been Apple strongholds, so Google needs all the ammunition it can get in these markets. Okay, and for my third story of the week, here's something straight out of the research labs. OLED without burn-in. So in current OLED screens, the blue color is usually the problem. Blue OLEDs need more energy to reach illumination, and their efficiency, stability, color purity, etc. still aren't great yet either, and no single material has been found that completely fixes this. But a new paper published by a team in Cambridge in the prestigious Nature journal proposes a new solution. Instead of trying to find one perfect material, why not combine 2?
¿Por qué no los dos?
Quote, rather than expecting a single type of molecule to achieve all of these things, the idea of hyperfluorescence is to share the work between different molecules that individually do a good job at dealing with the piece of the puzzle that they are allocated. The blue emitters are, quote, covalently encapsulated by insulating alkaline straps, which supposedly hinders something called the Dexter transfer. Do I personally understand the words that just came out of my own mouth? Of course not, but apparently the researchers believe that this could be the solution to permanent burn-in and could also make fabrication easier. And if you'd like to get smarter than me about the chemistry of everyday objects, then guess where I will send you to go? That's right, Brilliant! Brilliant has fantastic in-depth courses that walk you through the A to Z of chemical reactions, if that's your jam. Or if you want to channel your inner Zuckerberg and learn how to sift through massive amounts of data, then their newly put together courses on data science could supercharge your endeavors. I really like that Brilliant put together a lot of real-life data from sources like Starbucks, X, Spotify, and more that you can work with, which makes this extra cool. Brilliant is of course an online learning platform for STEM subjects, and it is easily the best place to learn about maths, physics, biology, computer science, and so on. Their secret sauce is that they break complicated concepts into many smaller chunks, they explain them with killer animations, and also make everything interactive, so you also have to practice each little learning by solving a puzzle of sorts right after you learn it. This way, even big concepts become easy to digest, and they really stick with you as well, because practice and interactivity really helps you drill everything into your brain. You can sign up to try everything Brilliant has to offer for free for the first 30 days with my link below, that is brilliant.org/TFC, and if you use that link you can also get 20% off your annual premium subscription. So check them out, I hope you like it, and I'll see you next Friday.